Hey there, folks. Oh, I forgot my microphone. Sorry. I'm a little tired. It's only Monday and it's already a long week. Sorry. I did make a podcast earlier, and I didn't get to look into a lot. I had been working all day and just saw some news, and a couple points I didn't get a chance to touch on. Because I'm still processing the whole Jack Smith, Vance thing all at the same time, practically. I had a little sit and think about it. And I also saw Bo do a clip, and it was something that is completely valid. That, yeah, he has a ton of followers, and so, he's going to get the message out there way more than I am. But something to consider, which I was turning about in my head a little before I saw the clip this evening, after I made my other one, was I don't see the documents case getting to trial before the election. If Trump's win, it never will. If he wins, again, can't steal documents. It shows national security secrets to other people in your golf club. Can't do that. Yeah, other people have gotten jail quicker in a lot less time. So, I mean, again, I think no matter what Merrick Garland would have done, that's why the seditionists are still sitting in our house, because it's a done deal. He could try to bring it, but one way or another, he's going through quicksand with concrete boots on. He's just not going to get anywhere, is what I'm saying. I mean, I think he read the tea leaves. I mean, he tried. It was half-assed, but he still tried. But I think it was already pretty much done. But I don't think that case will go to trial. Because no matter what the 11th Circuit says, whether they say, yes, Eileen Cannon was right, which constitutionally and by our laws and statutes, no, then Trump will appeal. Even if they say, hey, she is right, Smith will appeal. So no matter what, history is going to come into play, because special counsels or special prosecutors or whatever title they've had throughout our history does go back to the late 1800s, I believe. So yeah, SCOTUS going to have to thread that originalism really, but I'm sure they're probably already working on it, knowing it's coming to them, so they can have some game plan in place. I'm sure they're already looking, because history is going to come into that one, because you have to validate through the law how this position is within the framework of our system. Yeah. And you have to validate that. So, and that takes history. And they're so about their history. But it will be interesting to see what they do and what they say. Even though other appeals courts have already litigated this more than once throughout the years. I even think Nixon, there was one back in that day about a special counsel. So, I mean, in our recent past, it has been litigated. Mueller, I know, was. So it's not something out of the blue. But I don't foresee that case going to trial at all before the election. And that's pretty much. I don't know if they could scurry it any faster, and SCOTUS is on their vacation, their summer holidays, so nope. Even if they come back in September, October. I don't know how quick the 11th Circuit can take it. Then there's arguments, and then decisions, and I don't know. But I don't foresee it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. When you're voting, or who you're looking at to vote, he took those documents, thousands, boxes of them, and put them in a bathroom, and here, there, and everywhere, in a ballroom, in his bedroom. I mean, There was a lot of documents in a lot of places, and a lot of documents shown to people they shouldn't have been shown to, and it has been on. They have it on. You know, you can go read the transcripts. I think he was being taped for a book. They were interviewing him, or an article or something, and he was showing this stuff off to them. One of them was an Iranian plan of some sort. Yeah, people, this is not going to go to trial. Again, this is why court reform is so important. And just think, if he gets the presidency again, Eileen Cannon will be a Supreme Court justice. Because Thomas is chomping at the bit to get out the door, and so is Alito, waiting for a Republican so they can retire. I say we give them, not Biden's going to sit there 4 more years. And you guys can go now, or you can wait it out. And I do want people to really, really focus on the courts, especially the Clarence Thomas. Those Russian trips back in the 2000s, that needs to be front and center. It needs to be looked at. So people need to get that back out in the world too. The Senate Judiciary Committee, just Dick Durbin needs to get on it. Write him. Get on the government website, get his email, write him, call him, say, look, hearings need to be held. They won't show. Get the sergeant at arms, go grab them. They've been subpoenaed, just do it. There is no, we respectfully decline. No, you come and you speak and you say. You spoke for your confirmation to get the job. Now you best speak to keep your job. So, get that back out there. They need to be held accountable. And Dick Durbin needs to stop with this decorum nonsense and, pussyfooting around. Man up, get a spine about him. We ain't got time for this game. Again, 4 months may seem like a long time, or now 3.5, but early voting starts in September, people, in some places. So it's very important. It's very important. This stuff needs to be out there in the public. That was one thing with the Jack Smith and the Eileen Cannon situation, and the other was Vance being the vice presidential pick. Think about that. Really, really think about that. If Trump gets elected, and then something happens, and he becomes, Trump is old, not the best diet, not the most healthiest fella, but if something happened, and that would be your president. Sometimes he is just as transactional and just as bad as Trump, but there's a different, he's a younger version. Got more pep in his step and more cruelty and dangerous thoughts, I'm sure, swirling about in that head of his. And he's a former critic of Trump, that all of a sudden, the contradiction, boom, I'll flip, I'll get in line. That should frighten people. Some of the things that he said, look at some of his comments that, like when Pence, and this is another thing, I was no fan of Pence. Not by a long shot. But, and again, nothing to truly praise him for, but when we needed that guardrail, he helped. With Vance, if something like that would happen again in the future, he has already said we should look at different slates of electors to decide who we want to win. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, I'm boiling it down, but that's like the slate of electors that are sent from the states of who, they voted for and who should be the president. He thinks there should be different ones so they can pick and choose who they want. So basically that disenfranchises the actual people that voted for. I mean, say if it was right now and Trump was in there and they had Vance and Biden came along and this was, say it was back from 2020 and he would have had Vance and they had those fake electors. Well, there were actual electors that were certified by the states and they said, oh no, we want to pick different slates so we can pick who we want, then those people who were actually certified and the real electors would have been disenfranchised, all those voters. And he's fine with that. So even though Pence held that guardrail, now with Vance, if we elect Trump, that guardrail is gone. It's another chip away at our Constitution. Folks, think about this. If you are true Americans and truly love your country and true patriots to your country, you would see these things for what they are. They are the destruction of the Constitution under which you live. And if you are one of those people so about your white power, karma is not kind. Just saying. Karma's not kind. I mean, if my friend sees a world where Hitler would blush at what is going to happen, that should scare you. Because just when you think you're the one that won't be persecuted or you won't be othered in some way, that's when they will come and other you. I've been reading some more of Project 2025 on page 451. The nuclear family, or nuclear, sorry, I'm tired, is when they are going to support and repeal everything else about same-sex marriage, LGBTQ rights, women's rights. They want that man is the head above all else. And it would sound to me like the veiled wording of an adoption pipeline, in which parents who are declared unfit by the courts for abuse and neglect, which we all know that could be twisted, and if they already own the courts, you know what I mean, and they judges, that could go a lot of ways bad for children and parents. I'm not saying there's not parents out there that don't do that. Yes, I know, I've seen them. But there are parents, like, say, maybe there's something they can't get you on and you're a white family, and none of these laws that they're going to rescind or wrap around or come into play or whatever, they're not going to touch you. But you don't pray how they want you to pray, or you don't think how they want you to think, and you don't live how they want you to live. Maybe you will become an abuser, quote unquote, or a neglector of your child, and the court will find you guilty even though you didn't. And the adoption services will be swift. I think that was the word, swift. Let me go see. I can't remember what it was. There was the process of adoption should be speedy, certain, and supported. So, yeah. So if you're found by the court to be an unfit parent, the adoption process will be speedy. That sounds like a pipeline to me. So, I'm just saying, think about these things. There's a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff about the Project 2025. I mean, it sounds good on paper, like, oh, hey, get rid of race. Yeah, we all want to get rid of race because it's man creation to divide people. Yeah, I would love to not think about race or have to answer that question. I think we all would. It's just so, it's used for people who have an agenda and want control and power and division. I would love to see race go out of the vocabulary in a more and have a positive impact, is what I'm saying. They word it in such a way it makes it look like it will, but by them taking race out of everything, it devalues you in the way that when you read through it, and it doesn't benefit you in any way. And they're going to open all these racial discriminatory offices. I mean, this this is Nazi shit, people. Again, it's worded in such a way that it makes it look like it might, if it could be implemented in a proper fashion, that would be beneficial for people. But when you read through it, how it goes and the little dog whistles and the read between the lines, it's like, that's not their intent. It's not to have a positive outcome for people. It's to have a very detrimental and negative one, especially for people of color. They are the biggest ones on the chopping block. I don't know that people who support the GOP right now on that side, I don't know how. I mean, maybe they think, especially in politics, they're saving themselves. I don't know. Guess what? You see how people get stepped over and thrown under a bus really quick when they want it to. No matter who you are. But all this talk that Trump is talking about unity, and they're all preaching that unity, listen to it. Listen to what they say and how they say it. Go listen to Hitler's speeches. He preached unity so the people opposed to him would shut up and not be opposed to him and get in line. Because there were people who were against him. And that was why he preached unity. To remind them that they were going to be put in their place. And that's what they want from us. Seriously, go compare the speeches. That's what they want from us. They want those of us who protest and say, no, this is not what we want, and oh, we're overreacting, and oh, it would never be this way. Oh, let's come together so we can shut you up. That's what they want. Let's come together and be unified so you will shut up and keep in your place. Listen to your betters. Don't, folks. Just don't. They got bullhorns, so do we. Just remember that. Like I said, go watch the speeches and compare them. It's sad that we, have to talk about stuff like this. I'd rather talk about nature and all the cute birds I saw today, and making nests in my ferns, and stuff like that, and all the critters that come to my wildlife kingdom. But unfortunately, this is where we are, and I have a feeling things will just continue to not escalate as in violence, but it'll just be more and more and more piled on to more and more and more. Just don't take your eye off the prize. Democracy or Christo-fascism. And you see these people over here and what they've done for years and years. And on top of it, Vance has virtually no experience in governance at all. Period. Full stop. Harris was a prosecutor. She was an AG. She was a senator. She got background. All he got's a piss-ass book and some money. Nothing else. Stop elevating the rich to be something to emulate. Yes, go make your bank. Go make your money. But when you abuse the privilege that you have been given, and the luck that you got, and you take it for granted and you take advantage of it, again, karma comes. It might be slow, but she's a wicked mistress. So just don't let him hold you down, folks. Just don't. That's what the unity is for on their side. Our side's calling for unity, for peace and everybody to come together, and it's not kumbaya or anything. It's just, hey, dial it down, take a minute, take a breath, take a beat, step back. Their idea of unity is come to our side and shut up. We don't want to hear from you because you're threatening us. Who's the snowflakes now, really? But it's bullying. That unity, they're talking on the right. It's bullying. It's a veiled bully threat. That's what it is. I don't feel that our side is doing that. It comes from, human beings actually having a soul and some emotion. Theirs not so much. So think about that. Does that message really resonate with you? Their idea of unity kind of reminds me of Hitler's idea of unity. So, just don't get disheartened, folks. Don't let them kick you down or anything like that. Keep speaking truth to power. Keep writing your legislators. Senate Judiciary needs the hearings. It's way too late for that. Get them boys in there. They had a hearing to get the job. They need a hearing to keep their job. So, keep that in the news, folks. Don't lose sight, because those things are very important. Because if we can save, our country and the vision that we want of it, of being a better place and to work for a better future. I mean, Trump's vision is Mad Max. Eventually. It will look like all those movies that we've seen. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So, I know there's a lot of people that do. But again, we've got to stop allowing this to flourish. And I watched tonight where I think Joy Reid was, talking about the real stuff, and that there needs to be introspection on the larger media part, and then that guy got diverted by the other people, which I was very disappointed, because she was right. The media plays a part in this. And when I said on my other video about the violence, and we need to do some deep introspection, it's those who are fanning the flames and been using Trump for their clickbait for how many years in the media. More so them and the people on that side, like, hey, we've supported this. Maybe we should step back and not do that. And the violent rhetoric and whatnot. But that's been the media and the people on that side supporting it. That's who I'm talking about, and that needs to have the introspection. I think most of us under our umbrella over here already know. I mean, there's the little subgroups that have their own little agenda or whatnot, and they should do some introspection too. But I'm just saying that that's what I was meaning. And I heard Joy talking, and Joy was talking some real talk about, she was on the ground with the public when it happened, and she's getting the feedback, and she's talking about it. So I'm a clip on MSNBC on YouTube, and then I saw like Rachel and the other ones. It was like the other night trying to divert, and they just didn't want to. Like when Joy Reid was with Chris Hayes, she finally, like, it was the panel she was on the one night, she was parsing her words, and the next night she was on with Chris Hayes, she wasn't. And Chris was still the one out there floating in the wind, like, maybe Biden will leave or whatever. And it's like, she's trying to steer him back, and he didn't want to come over. And they're kind of going that way. And I was disappointed. I understand what Rachel Maddow was saying, but I was in a way disappointed, because she was very not very focused on that message, that the people are tired of the media both sidesing it when we know what side it is, and they don't want to call it out, and they just want the clickbait and all of that, and it's not even reporting on. I mean, yeah, they want the clickbait for Trump's event, shenanigans, but they never frame it in the right way. It always lacks the context to, and it's just like, what are you doing? I'm not saying never, but there are those, like, Joy and some others, that Katie Fang, stuff like that, they do, but excuse me, but not all of them. And I saw Rachel kind of, veering away, and it's like, oh, the orders must come down from on high. I didn't think that would be her. I was kind of disappointed. She was there for a minute, and then she kind of went off on this other thing, and it was like, no, what Joy's saying is right. You guys gotta own yourselves over here, because that's what I was talking about. The media has been fanning the flames. They've been pouring the gas on the fire. The GOP and the far-right extremism, the Christian nationalists. They've been pouring gas on the fire, and the media's just fanning it. They're stoking it. and in such a way as to benefit them and then make themselves and make money, but also the other side, and totally not in the correct context of the negativity that of what it is. They're trying, it's almost like a positive spin if you could do that, but their framing is so off. It's just not showing you the negativity for all it is, or if there is some, it's a blip and then it's gone and they won't focus on it. And then you just go pick on Biden or pick on the Democrats or pick on somebody else. And it's like, oh, for goodness sake. Oh, for goodness sake. It's like, I was really surprised. Joy saw that and she was trying to relay that. And the rest of them were half-assed about it. So that's why we got to push them, folks. Got to push them. Be respectful, but tell them, okay, you're not doing your job, and if you don't quit it, then you're just going to lose the viewership, the subscribers, whatever. We're not going to watch you. You know, you got to make a point. I told him, tank them. If they don't want to listen and they don't want to do their job and report what real news is in the real world, then we as the consumers have the power. Because Bo did mention something, and I would suggest you go watch it, about the economy. He did one earlier today. It was about the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, and inflation. It leveled out in such a way in May or June, that it was for the first time since like 2021. And again, we kept saying greedflation, and corporations were artificially inflating their prices, and they pushed it to what the market could bear, and people would stop buying, and people squealed and said no more, because the prices were too high. And guess what? And like for the CPI, they finally dropped them in like May or June, and well, like May, I think it was. And this is the result of it. And then the prices came down. They pushed it to what the market could bear. So when we've been saying greedflation, and it wasn't actual, I mean, there was inflation in the beginning, but then they took advantage of it, and it was just them purposefully inflating it. That study and the release of that information, that things have leveled out now, and our inflation is like right around 3%, I think, something like that. Yeah, it's always been the corporations. So that was deliberate, and that was purposeful. So maybe you want to think about who you give your business to and what you spend your money on. I'm not saying don't buy what you need, but do you need a new iPhone? Do you need the latest this or the flashy that? No. Buy what you need, not what you want. Stick it to the companies, because they've been sticking it to you and me and everybody else. So go watch that over on Bo, the Fifth Column, today, about the economy. And he explains it better about the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, than I do, because I know a little bit about economics, but he explains it in a better way. But I'm kind of straight up and tell it like it is. Yeah, we've been getting screwed. And now the prices are coming down and the markets are leveling out a little bit. And people should start feeling it and reflect that the economy is good. Like, this was just from last month. So, you know, it isn't out there, but they pushed it. And then they had to go drop their prices because people were like, nah. So that's how you get your way as a consumer. Just don't. Buy what you need, not what you want. Because half of the stuff that we want, you find out you don't need it really anyway. Make do with what you have. I mean, flashy things, in the end, they're novel and they're fun, but why waste all that money on something that in a month or two you're just going to forget about? And all you do is feed the corporate machine. So, think on those things, folks. Well, I'm going to call it a night, so I hope everybody has a good one, and y'all take care. Remember, stay thoughtful, stay inquisitive, and write those letters. Get on your socials. Push for the news to be the right way. Okay? Peace out.